you too. Thank you so much to accept to meet us. It's such an honor.
紹介した方がいいかな。今日通訳してくれるリサとビデオアーティストのニモです。
Yeah. So I will be translating to English today. I'm an intern at the office, and we also have a photographer and staff member, Nemo, who will help us today as well.
Okay, thank you so much. And just to introduce the session, so I am Magali Paris, and the students that are in charge of the interview are Blandine Butel, which is on the right of the little pictures, and Corto Le Provo. And they got the help of Naoki Shimamura, which is a Japanese. He is born in France, but his parents are from Japan. And so he helped them to translate the question in Japanese that you received by email. Okay.
Okay. その直樹さんがこれをトランスレートしたのね。
はい。通訳しました。
Okay.
And to introduce the session, so it's a seminar, a master student seminar we organize on Asian film. So each student or group of students are studying a film and specifically a project of this film. And we are working in such countries as China, Vietnam, Singapore. Yesterday we were with, yesterday and the day before, again, we were with a landscape architect from Singapore that came to visit us in Versailles, Taiwan, and so other countries in Asia. And so the students, they will lead this interview. So in the audience, you could find other students of our seminar. And also I see that Naoki Shimamura is here. Maybe Naoki, you could present you.
Yes, I'm Naoki Shimamura. よろしくお願いします。日本人なんですけど。
あ、そうなんだ。
はい。フランスで生まれ育って、すいません。ちょっと、今パソコンにカメラがないんで顔映せないんですけど。
はいはい。
はい。今日はよろしくお願いします。
はいはい。あ、日本人の人がいるんだね。これ学生？
そうです。今最後の5年目なんですけど。
5年目なんだね。
はい。
わかりました。これ今、1、2、3、4、5人学生がいるっていうことですか？
そうですね。5人だと思います。
5 students. 5人。Yes. I see. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And feel free if you want to share the screen. We'll save your document so we could share the screen, or you could do it by yourself. So feel free, Blandine and Corto, to do it, or to ask us to do if you want. Okay, Blandine and Corto, it's your time. So please begin.
Okay. So thank you very much to come and give us some of your time to talk about your project and about yourself, your agency. Thank you very much, Magali, to make this interview possible. And thank you very much, Naoki, to translate the questions for us in order to make it possible as well. So we're going to share a screen to start with the questions. So we, as you know, we studied the Takenoyama house free. But first, we wanted you to ask a simple question, which was, is the formwork title in your profile picture a reference to Tadao Ando?
まあこれは実はこの竹野山3の隣が竹野山2という コンクリート、エクスポーズドコンクリートの家があるんですけど、そこも僕のクライアントです。
So actually, right next to this project, he has previously built another house, which is known as Takenoyama too. That's why this is the third house that he's built in this area.
そこのクライアントが美容師で、そのクライアントにいつも髪の毛を切ってもらっています。
The client is actually a hairdresser, and he always cuts his hair at the salon.
この写真はその時にカットしてもらった後で撮った写真で、この壁はその彼のお店の壁です。
お店は設計したんですか？
お店してない。
So this picture was taken right after a haircut, and it was taken in front of the shop's building.
だから実はこの壁と僕とは全く関係がありません。
So actually, this wall, and I have no relationship to this wall, other than it's the shop of the hairdresser.
もちろんタダワンドは僕の30代ぐらいまでの憧れの建築家でした。もう30年前になります。
Of course, Ando Tadao was a big inspiration for me up until my 30s, but it's now maybe 30 years ago.
今は全く興味がないというか、彼の建築家としての僕のアイドルではなくなってしまったので、このコンクリートが彼に対するオマージュで撮ったわけではありません。
Well, since then, I wouldn't I wouldn't idolize him as an architect as I've gone my own path. But to answer your question, this wasn't an homage to Ando Tadao's architecture.
彼の美しい、壁にコンクリートのエクスポーズコンクリートに憧れた時もありますが、今は全くそういう憧れはありません。
I was very impressed and inspired by his way of using or showing exposed concrete, but today I don't admire it in the same way as I did in the past.
むしろもうそういう彼のような計画的にというかコントロールしたエクスポーズドコンクリートからどのように距離を置くかっていうことが僕の今の課題イシューになっています。タダワンドのような、コントロールしたエクスポーズドコンクリートからどのように離れるっていうか、もっとコントロールせずに、なんていうのかな、自然な表情のコンクリートを作るかが僕のテーマになっている。
To compare, or after I started my own practice and started my own designs, when I do architecture with concrete, I'm more interested in showing the raw finish of the casted exposed concrete.
そうですね。その安藤忠に関しては、今は建築家というよりも、一人の人間としてのパワーですかね。それについてはすごく影響を受けています。
So today, when I think of Ando Tadao, I admire him more for his personality rather than his architecture.
ただ安藤忠のことについて聞いてくれたので、今の僕の彼に対する評価をしておくと、やっぱり彼は、多くの素 スターアーキテクトがたどるような道を彼もたどってしまったなと思っているだけです。
Since you asked, the question was about Tadao Ando, I'm, I guess, expressing my opinions on him as an architect, and I feel how he's developed into a starchitect, a worldwide architect. I kind of opposed to that in some matters.
この質問については以上ですね。
Yeah, so that's it for this question.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go to the next question then.
The second question is, could you introduce your agency to use, please?
ビデオを作ったので、この後ろにもが作ってくれたので、今からそれを紹介します。ちょっと数分ですけど見てください。
So Nemo, our photographer, he has made a small short film, which we will play now on our office.
こういう昔の70年前の一軒家に建てられた一軒家です。
It's an old house in Nagoya, built 70 years ago.
これミーティングルームで、私はコンストラクションカンパニーでもあるので、ツールとか、ワークショップっていうか、そういう部屋もあります。
Our office is also a construction company. So we also have a workshop and storage space for our tools, one that we use for the construction site.
そうですね。2階が今いる場所なんですけども、事務所です。
The second floor is where we are right now, in the office for the staff and Uno-san.
それぞれみんな食事をとります、ここで。ここが僕の部屋で、今バイクがありますけど、これを漕ぎながら設計してます。
So this is my office, this is my room, and I recently just got a bicycle that I can bike whilst I'm
運動不足解消で。
drawing.
次はランニングマシンを隣に置こうかなと思う。
And I'm thinking of buying a running machine next.
スタッフはアーキテクトが日本人のアーキテクトが僕を含めて4人、スタッフは3人で、あと、リサともう一人学生が、後ろに写ってる学生が2人で、あとビデオアーティストのニモが1人、計6人がスタッフでいます。
So we are six members in the office, 4 Japanese, including Uno-san, and 3 from abroad, including me and Animo, the photographer, and another intern from Germany.
という構成です。職人たちはもうすべて事務所の社員ではないので、すべてアウトソーシングしたスタッフです。
And the craftsmen we use for construction are not a part of are not staff members, and we employ them or recruit them for each project.
なんか質問ありますか？
If there's any questions, please let us know.
We'll follow up with the third question because it has a link with the construction team and how we build a team project. So we're going to pass on to this. Thank you very much for your answer. So, indeed, how did you gather all the different stakeholders for your project? Architects, craftsmen, clients, design offices, etc.
これは、僕がこの事務所を、やり始めて32年になりますが、10年ぐらい経ったとき、15年じゃないな、13年ぐらい経ったときに、本格的に、コンストラクションカンパニーになりました。
So I have had my office for 32 years, and it's about 13 years after I started the office, I officially started doing the construction.
その13年の間は、まあもちろん、いい職人、今のような職人に巡り会えているわけではなくて、いろいろな職人と仕事をしながら、なんて言ったらいいのかな。まあ、いい職人だけをピックアップして、付き合ってきた。その積み重ね、ですね。
So the first 13 years I started the office were not as consistent as my office today. I would work with many different craftsmen each time, and in those first few years I would build relationships with people that I later on could trust or have a good relationship with further on.
まあ最初の頃は本当になんていうのかな、全くやる気のない職人とか技術のない職人とやっていたので、ストレスの多い、まあ現場でした。
In the beginning, it was really hard finding the right craftsmen that had the right skills and motivation and passion that I wanted to pursue in my architecture. So it was quite a few tough years to begin with.
いい職人っていうのは結構いい職人を知っているので、やっぱりいい職人に紹介してもらうっていうことをもうずっとつなげてきて、もう15年ぐらい前からほとんど同じ職人で仕事をしています。
But once you find the right and skilled craftsmen, they often also know other skilled and good craftsmen, and this then continued I continued to build relationships, and the past 15 years I've mostly worked with the same craftsmen.
あと、クライアントのことを話すかな。クライアントのことも聞きたいから聞いてみて。
Are you also interested in about how I find clients?
Yeah,
Or...
sure.
Yes.
クライアントか。実はクライアント、まあ、このいわゆるマーケティングについてはもう事務所を始めた頃からずっと悩み続けています。
Actually, in terms of how I market myself and the office, I've been very troubled ever since I started my office.
僕が作ろうとしている建築がどういうクライアントに共感してもらえるかは、まあ、未だによく理解できていなくて、できていません。
I'm still I still don't know what it is that attracts the clients to approach me and my office.
戦略的に何かを仕掛けるというよりも、できる限りその事実としての情報を、SNS とかいろいろなものに発表するように心がけています。
I try my best to be true to myself and how I show my office with the things that I, for example, post on social media or online. And this is maybe what attracts them to me, the clients to me.
だからあまり言葉を、特にSNS とかは、インスタもそうなんですけど、言葉をあまり載せずに、写真であったり、職人の働く姿であったりっていう、いわゆる何かブランド作りみたいな、何かを意識的にイメージするような、意図はできる限り排除してきたつもりです。
So when I use my social media or other platforms, I try mostly to share pictures of my work and my craftsmen that are working in the construction site, and try to distance myself from branding my way in a specific way with text and writing.
クライアント、ほとんどクライアントとの出会いというか、クライアントが建築の質とかそういうものを決めてしまうので、結構そのクライアントと出会うための情報っていうのはすごく自分の建築の本質に関わるところだと思っています。わかる？クライアントに届ける情報っていうのは、自分のなんていうのかな、クライアントがすごく建築にとってすごく重要なので、もうクライアント次第で全て決まってしまうので、クライアントに届ける情報っていうのは、いわゆる SNS とかね、そういう僕から発信する情報っていうのは、すごくなんていうのかな、ナーバスになるっていうのかな。
Many of my clients are deeply passionate about architecture and have an appreciation for good things. So they often sense this realness, or through the photographs that I take and share, they sense that it would be a good relationship between us.
僕はクライアントとのおそらく結構僕とクライアントとの仕事の仕方っていうのは特徴的だと思います。
I do believe that the way that me and my clients collaborate or work together is quite unique.
クライアントに対しては、僕が求めることは予算のことをちゃんと確保してもらうことと、あと機能的なことの確認に終始して、もうすべて機能的なことと予算的なこと、あとデザイン的なことの打ち合わせとか、こちらから何か情報を提供するようなことはあまりないですね。立面図とか、断面図とか平面図ぐらいは提供するだけで、何かクライアントにデザイン的な情報を相談することはほとんどありません。
So when I get a commission from a client, when I work with a client, I usually only have two things that that I require for them is first of all the estimated budget, which is very important, of course, and also the functionality, the functions for the house or what else it can be. In terms of design development and the discussions about the design, I hardly discuss this with the client.
僕は、コンストラクションカンパニーというか工務店になったのも、クライアントとのコラボレーションをなるべく少なくするために、その手段として信頼を勝ち得る、信頼を獲得するために全ての責任を負うという立場になったっていうことです。
For me, when I make a design or when I do my architecture, I want to make sure that there is as little inconvenience for the client. So that's also one of the reasons, a big reason to why I started my own construction company, so that I can be fully responsible of everything from the design to the complete project.
責任のないところに信頼というのは生まれないので、やっぱりその責任を負えば負うほど信頼というのは、クライアントからいただくことができるっていうことだと思います。
I believe that without being able to take the responsibility, I can't build a trustworthy relationship. That's why I find it very important to take responsibility for all phases.
もちろん人間的な魅力っていうかそういうものは言うまでもないことなんですけども、まあそういうのも含めた総合的な人間関係っていうんですかね。そういうことが建築にとってすごい重要だと思う。
But of course, there's also other things that matter, such as chemistry and having a good relationship, humanistic relationship with the clients. And this also affects the architecture and the completion of the building.
本当にコラボレーション、建築家っていうのは必ずコラボレーションをする職業なんですね。それはもちろんクライアントともしなければならないし、職人ともしなければならない。でも自分は譲れないところ、絶対コラボレーションができない部分っていうのをやっぱり自分の中でちゃんと決めて、自分が、そのクライアントに対して社会に対して何が一番最も効率的に効果的に貢献できるかっていうのを常に考えることが重要だと思う。
Of course, as an architect, it's necessary to collaborate. Architecture can't begin without a client, and you need the craftsmen and other stakeholders to do the architecture. But I think it's also important that you take responsibility for what you want to do or complete as an architect, and that's why I chose to also take the responsibility to do the construction.
当初、私が工務店になったのは、いわゆるそのその工務店に外部に頼んだときに、 その外部とのその工務店、私以外の人たちとのコラボレーションになってしまう建築が、それを避けるっていう意味もありました。
So, before I became a construction company, I felt that working with other construction companies, you had to always compromise with the design. This was a very a big conflict within me. So this is why I chose to do the construction myself.
建築を作るっていうことの最も建築家が重要視しないといけないことは、志を合わせる、同じ方向をみんな向くっていうことだと思います。志、なんていうのかな、何かを作る、向き合うんじゃなくて、こういうものを、いいものを作りたいという方向、一つの方向、同じ方向を向くっていうことね。
I believe that as an architect, it's very important to, if you have an idea and a path of what you want to do, you have to follow this path, and by having a lot of collaborations and collaborators, this strong idea or strong feeling you have within yourself can be a compromise, and I think that can be very dangerous for the architecture.
工務店というのはやはりそこが会社であるので、会社を経営するとか維持するっていう目的がやっぱり真っ先に、やっぱりそれがすごく重要なので、そこは僕にとってあまり実は重要ではないんですね。だから工務店と仕事をしないっていう、したくなかったっていうこともあり
ます。When working with a construction company, you're also working with a company that has to profit and work as a business, and many of the things the ideas or the things that I wanted to do weren't aligned with what they could help me with. So that's why I gave up working or collaborating with a construction company.
だからやっぱりその一つ志を合わせるというか目的を合わせてものづくりをするということが重要で、それにはやっぱりあまりそこに関わるスタッフっていうのかな、クライアントと私の事務所とあと職人っていうシンプルな関係の方が、一つの目的に思って、進むことができると思って自分が自ら工務店になったっていうことです。
So, I guess the main reason why I chose to become a construction company was so that I could stick to my own gut and always do architecture that I feel is right without having to compromise or have other people, many stakeholders disturb my work and what I believe is best. So when I approach architecture or when I have a client, it's often few people that I work and trust with. So that would be the client and myself and the craftsman.
ただ最近、最初の頃は工務店とはそういう動機っていうかモチベーションでやることはやめたんですけれども、最近はまた 工務店とやらないという、自分で施工をやるというのは別の意味が出てきました。
But recently, another reason for not collaborating with construction companies or doing the construction myself, another reason has evolved.
建築家っていう仕事は、実は、結論から言うと、僕はより感覚的な仕事をしたかったんだっていうことを、ここ数年より強く感じるようになりました。
I recently realized that an architect's role, or I guess how I believe an architect should build and design, is a very conscious feeling and a conscious profession.
建築家っていうのはすごく意識的なというか、予定調和、いわゆるマニュアルを作る仕事なので、実は誰がどのように作っても同じように作れる図面を描くという仕事なので、その感覚的な仕事とは全く違う意識的な仕事なんですね。
An architect is actually a very conscious profession. The role of the architect is to mediate ideas and to, through drawings, hand over something that can be built. So it's actually the quite opposite of being perceptual and being a perceptual profession.
その仕事の仕方っていうのは、ビジネスとか大量生産とか、いわゆるビジネスには向いているのかもしれないけど、僕には全く興味のない仕事の仕方でした。
And maybe this way of working as an architect is profitable and good, and can be a good business, working in this very traditional manner, but it doesn't work for me as an architect.
僕は職人、プラスタラーの職人の子として生まれたんですが、やっぱ彼らと建築家の違いっていうのをやっぱり、最近すごく感じるようになりました。
I grew up in a household with craftsmen. My father was a plaster, and I recently also realized the big difference between a craftsman and an architect.
職人っていうのはとっても感覚的な職業なんです。
The craftsman or the profession of the craftsman is a very perceptual profession.
特に日本の建築に関わる、木造もそうですけども、特に建築に関わる職人は自然の素材を扱うことが多いので、マニュアル通りには仕事ができません。
Especially in Japan, many craftsmen they use organic materials, so that's why the consciousness of perception is very important as a craftsman.
極端な言い方をすると、二度と同じ仕事はなくて、毎日毎秒変化があって違う感覚を持ちながら一瞬で 体を動かして形にしていくっていう職業が職人の仕事です。
To overall, especially when you work with organic materials, each piece, every object that you work with is different, and every project, every construction site is different. So that's why the knowledge of the craftsman is held in their perception and also in their body's consciousness and movements.
そういう感覚的な仕事っていうのはもう、二度と同じ仕事がなくて、とてもオリジナリティが豊かな仕事だと僕は思っています。
So this very perceptual profession, in a way, there's no project, there's no work that is the same. So that's why I think it's a very beautiful and perceptual profession.
僕はいわゆる誰が作っても同じようなものを作れる建築が作りたかったわけではなくて、やっぱり世界で一つしかない建築をいつも作りたいと思ってきたので、自分で現場に立って感じたことを形にしていくっていうことが僕の理想の建築の作り方です。
Since I was a young architect, I always had an idea that I never wanted to do the same thing twice, and I always wanted to challenge myself into building and designing new things each time. So even to this day, I go to the construction site and I perceive and feel what is best forward for the design development. And my biggest inspiration is the construction site.
それができるのが今の僕の自ら工務店になって現場に立って作るっていう、そして何かもちろん失敗することもあって、工務店の立場だからそれを責任を負ってまた直すこともできるっていう、建築家だけだったらそれはちょっと難しいので、やっぱり僕にとって今の立場はとてもベストな仕事の仕方だなと思っています。
So, as the construction company, I take all these responsibilities on myself, and of course I make mistakes as well. But as by doing the construction, I'm also responsible in repairing and doing maintenance work, and I believe that this is the best way for me to be an architect, by also being a part of the construction and taking the responsibility.
だから設計と現場が違うっていうことは本当によくあります。
So often there are the design and the construction site can be very different.
機能が変わってしまう場合はクライアントに相談しますが、機能が変わらなければクライアントに相談せずに変えてしまいます。
Of course, if the function of the spaces they change, this is something I need to discuss with the client and where we work together. But other than that, in terms of the architecture, the client doesn't hold much responsibility or doesn't know much about it.
まあ、これについてはこんなもんでしょうか。何か質問があればまた答えます。
So I think maybe this is it for now. If there's any questions in terms of this, please let me know.
It was very clear. Thank you. I think we're going to exchange the order of the questions because it might be best to continue to talk about the construction site, the details you've made, and how it is, how far you can go with your, how free you can be in your construction. So I'm going to pass into
ちょっとその質問の順番を、変えるらしいので、今その現場の話になのついでに、また違う質問。
Okay.
So you said you always have fabricated original non-standard assembly methods in your projects. This needs to be analyzed to respect norms, Japanese norms. What is your level of freedom in these wood joints, for example?
これについては、日本の建築の文化がかなりヨーロッパと違うので、少しそこから話をします。
So, the tradition of building in wood and wooden construction in Japan is very different from Europe. So I'll start by explaining this.
質問にもあるように、日本は、地震の多い国で、森林、いわゆる森林資源、木材が多い、そういう資源が多い国で、地震があるという前提で木造という建築が、数千年の間作られてきたっていう背景があります。
So, as you also mentioned in your question, Japan has a lot of earthquakes, and for this reason, there's a lot of the architecture that exists today is fairly new. We have had a long history and culture of demolishing buildings and rebuilding from scratch because of the climatic situation.
この長い歴史の中で地震や木造であるがゆえに火事などでかなりの多くの建築がいわゆるなくなりまた作られてきたっていう経験が日本には豊富にあります。
So, with this long history of earthquakes and fires that especially occur building in wood, there's also a lot of architecture that has been built and demolished, making the knowledge and the experience of building in several manners with wooden constructions, making it very broad in Japan.
だから木造に関しては、とっても経験値が高いというか、いろいろなノウハウをおそらく世界一持っている国だと思います。
So in terms of wooden construction in Japan, we have very deep and long history and a lot of experience in building with wood, and maybe even the most knowledgeable country in terms of building with wood.
現代以前っていうか、近代以前は、それぞれ大工の経験とかに、頼ってきました。
So prior to戦後ですか？
戦前だね。戦前っていうか、1900年以前ぐらいかな。1900年以前ぐらいまでは、
So before the 1900s, before the 20th century, a lot of the architecture that was built was by the craftsmen, just by the craftsmen.
それ以降は、いわゆる建築家という、職種もできて、いわゆる、共通に同じような耐震性を作る必要が国の政策として取られてきました。
So in the modern age, and I guess since the 1900s, we have also the profession or the role, the profession, the architect came to Japan, and as the society also modernized, we got a lot of rules and regulations, for example, in terms of earthquake resistance, and meaning that there are many stakeholders such as architects, craftsmen that are involved in construction or making architecture.
共通に安定した、耐久性っていうのを、法律という形で作ってきました。そうなので、法律によってその共通、安定的な耐震性を、耐久性を作ったっていうことはね、維持したっていう、その1900年以降はね。
So these laws, regulations, in terms of, for example, earthquakes and fire, they standardized the way of building and the way of approaching architecture, and it's like this to its day in the modern society.
それをずっと新しくしながら、もう21世紀の今もそういう時代に合わせて耐震性や、防火性の火事に対しての、なんていうの、法律的な決まりの中で僕らは作っています。
So even today, in the 21st century, the standardization of building or national or the laws and rules in terms of fire and earthquake is something that is over or that controls and determines what is possible in terms of building and doing architecture.
だから構造、簡単な構造計算で、住宅程度のものなら簡単なに作ることはできる法律になっています。
And in terms of doing small-scaled architecture or residential housings, there are not as strict rules and regulations in terms of earthquakes and fire in the same way.
金物とかそういう仕様も、その計算によって、細かく決められているので、僕らはそれを守りながら作っています。
Of course, there's also a lot of calculation in terms of the use of hardware. So I must follow these rules and this way of building in the modern society.
木組みに関しては、ジョイントの部分のことに関しては、構造的なものというよりも、どちらかというと、施工的な、現場での施工性っていうかな。施工性ってわかる？作りやすさとか、作る合理性とか、そういう意味を優先して、木組みを作ることが多いっていうかな。木の組み合わせ、ジョイナリーのことだけど。こういうあるやつね。施工のしやすさとか、そういうことで、決めることが多い。
So, for example, in terms of wooden constructions and my use of timber joinery or traditional joinery, it's often to make the construction of the building easier. It's for the construction. Yeah.
ただ、伝統的なジョイナリーでも、現代の、耐震性というか構造に見合う、ものが実証されている木組みもあるので、それはそれで、適材適所というか、合理的に使っていくっていうことはしているっていうことだよね。伝統的な木組みでも、いわゆる、なんていうのかな、構造計算に見合ったことが実証されているものもあるので、それは合理的に使うこともあるっていう。
So, when I do my architecture, I often reference to traditional architecture, and which is based on traditional joineries and woodworking joineries. But of course, it's hard to only be reliant on that in terms of what is possible today. So often when I approach or when I do wooden constructions, it's a balance between referencing to these old traditions and building methods, but also modernizing it in due to the limits and restrictions that occur in building in our modern society.
ただし、僕が作る木造の住宅は、そういう簡単な構造でできるものが少ないので、いわゆる構造のプロフェッショナルのアーキテクトに常に相談しています。
But the architecture that I do and design is quite difficult. So when during the design development or when I do architecture, I often only consult with skilled engineers that could help me with what I want to achieve.
最新のそういう技術、木造の技術とか、そういうものをいろいろ 探しながら、もう最も合理的な方法を、まあ、模索っていうか研究しながら作っているっていうことが私の木造の設計ですね。
So I guess in terms of how I would define my approach to wooden architecture is to find a balance between referencing the old but modernizing it, and also adjusting it to what is possible in today's society, but of course also what is possible in terms of the client that I have.
だからいわゆる一般的なその決まりの中で作るというよりも、構造的な合理性が実現できていれば、まあ、設計っていうのはとても自由なところが多いですね。なんて言ったらいいかな。一般、なんて、もうちょっと日本、構造計算でちゃんと特殊な、まあ、それなりのちゃんとした計算のやり方で、耐震性が証明できれば、何でも作れるっていうこと。だから自由度は高い。そういう計算上で、その耐震性を証明できれば、自由度は高いっていう。
So in terms of my approach or this to answer this question of the level of freedom, I would say that as long as you fulfill and complete the general rules in terms of earthquake and firework, I would say when you know the knowledge when you know the knowledge of structure and construction, then there's a lot of freedom in terms of designing.
ということです。
Yes, that's my answer.
Thank you very much. Well, it was always clear and super interesting, so thank you. We're going to pass on what you like the most, models. You claim that the physical model has enabled architects to imagine or project themselves. You compared it with GPS and maps. We do agree with this. However, do we have to forbid the model? We might consider it as a tool of representation for clients, for constructive dimensions, and it can also represent very radical way projects and hence a singularity, a particularity on the projects. So it might be interesting to use the model this way. What do you think of it?
こちらからちょっと質問したいんですけれども。
So firstly, before I answer, I actually have a question myself to you.
モデルを使ってクライアントと何を共有しようとしていますか？
In terms of when you make a model, what are you trying to achieve, or what are you trying to express to a client or to a teacher or to the audience?
I would think it would be spaces, how a space will be, what you are designing, what it will be in the constructive manner, as a constructive manner, as I think it's for projecting everyone into the space you want to design, you want to make people experiment.
何分の1のモデルを作るって、素材は何で作るかは分かりませんが、それで今あなたが言ったことが本当にクライアントとシェアできると思っていますか？
So I don't know the materials or the scale that you're working in, but when you present these models, do you feel that the person or the audience that you are presenting it to can sense the reality of the architecture through the model?
I would think in a way it does, especially when people cannot project themselves into spaces nowadays. So it is really useful for the clients, for example. I would say that. But indeed, it's not reality. It's just an abstraction of reality, which is not a representation, a real thing. So I understand what you are going to say afterwards this question.
まあ想像はできると思いますけど、もちろんその現実的な、空間にならないので、でもその想像するのにはとても、いいツールだと思います。
僕は素材も全くフェイクだし、寸法も違うものに対して、クライアントに対して自信を持ってこれが私の建築ですとは到底言えません。
In terms of my approach to models, I believe that showing something that is out of dimension, that is false in dimension, false in materials, is something that I do not have the courage to present to my client.
ただし、図面で表せれる数字は機能に直結するので、機能は伝えられることは図面ではできると思います。図面ではですけどね。模型では小さくてできないと僕は思っているので、機能は数字で伝えることは可能だと、ある程度可能だと思いますが、建築の素材を伴った身体性のある空間をクライアントとシェアできるとは到底思いません。
One second. Yeah. So, in terms, however, I would say that a drawing, a technical drawing, can be very useful. It has the diameters and dimensions of the space, but in terms of the model, I believe that there is too much falseness in the way that the space and the reality of the architecture can be perceived.
それが、その素材が自然の素材であればあるほど、必ずその自分のイメージと違うものができるので、また職人の仕事の仕方によっても、それはそこにできたものは唯一無二のものだと僕は思っています。世界に一つしかないもの。
So, especially when you're working with organic materials or making a building in that material, it can restrain yourself from understanding how the physical mass or the reality of the space can be experienced. It can be a misunderstanding not only for the client but also for the craftsman. And I truly believe that when it comes to architecture, there is only one thing that is true, and that is the one-to-one, the finished architecture.
機能以外のものを共有しようとすることは、いわゆる建築の素人であるクライアントと機能以外のもので共有しようとすることは、僕はナンセンスだと思います。
I believe that it's quite nonsense to share anything else than the dimensions of the architecture. Anything other than the dimensions are unusable and nonsense to the client and to the craftsman.
クライアントが本当にイメージができるものだけで作るのであれば、近づけるのかもしれないです。
Maybe if it's really the only way that if this is the only way that if a model is the only tool that can be used to help the client understand the space, maybe I would consider making an abstraction or making a model, but I refrain from making them.
おそらくそんな建築を作ろうと思っているとは思わないので、そんな努力をするよりも信頼してもらえるように自分の人間性を磨いた方が、僕は努力をした方がいいと思います。
So instead of trying to I believe that instead of making models and trying to convince a client or someone about the purity and the beauty of the architecture, I think that building strong relationships, trustworthy relationships with the client and with the stakeholders is more important than building a model.
強い信頼を得られれば、説明することはもっと少なくて共有することはもっと少なくて済みます。
The more trustworthy and the stronger the relationship you have with the people you're working with, the fewer questions you and doubts you also get from them.
僕はそのクライアントと何かをシェアしようとすればするほど、その動機は僕は建築家が何かの責任を逃れようとしているようにしか思えない。
動機と
モチベーション。モチベーション。なんかクライアントとシェア、機能以外のものをシェアしようとすればするほど、それは建築家にとって何かの責任を逃れようとする行為にしか僕は思えない。
I believe that as an architect, convincing the client or convincing others with other things than the drawing. So, for example, a model or other tools are just almost an excuse to convince them something, and I believe that it's a false tool for the architect.
それともう一つ模型を作ってしまうデメリットは、そのクライアントということもありますけども、自分にとってにもデメリットになる。建築家にとってもデメリットというか、自らの能力を育てることができなくなると思います。
Not only is it can it be dangerous for the client, but it can also be dangerous for the architect to build models.
日本の、古いお寺とか、神社などは、昔の大工たちは模型などは作っていません。大工の経験と感覚だけで設計をし作っています。
When you look at the old traditional buildings in Japan, the shrines and temples built by the craftsmen, they weren't reliant on building models. Instead, they were reliant on their knowledge, their experience, and perception.
にもかかわらず、昔の大工たちは、今の現代の建築家よりも、とても感覚的に優れているっていうか、ハイセンスっていうか、寸法感覚が優れていると思います。
優れてる。
優秀っていうか、なんていうのかな、今の建築よりも優秀だっていうことね。優れているってなんていうの？優れている？
その、昔の建築の方が
大工の方が今の建築家よりもそういう感覚的に寸法のバランスとかそういうのが優れているっていう。
Today, when you look at the industry today, the craftsmen have a much better perception in terms of architecture and in terms of assembling and building, and a much better perception than modern architects today.
今の現代の日本の建築家は、今ある美しいお寺とか古い建物のような美しい建築を作れないと思います。技術的にはではなくて、そのデザインセンスというか感覚的な寸法感覚ですね。寸法感覚で劣っているので作れないと思い
ます。I believe that today's architects in Japan, they are not capable of building as beautiful or as impressive buildings as the old Japanese traditional buildings, not only because of the knowledge or the lack of building knowledge and their taste or sense in design, but also their lack of understanding to dimensions and space.
その理由は、これは私の考えですが、それは模型を作ったり、CG を作ったりして建築を作ろうとするからだと僕は思っています。
And the reason for this, and this is my own personal opinion, I think it's because they are reliant on models and using CG and design computer software and trusting these tools to build the real or to build the architecture. Yeah.
それはなぜかというと、模型や CG は素材の持つリアリティとか、空間の身体感覚を完全に無視しているからです。
And the reason for this, the reason why it's very dangerous to be completely reliant on the software and the models is that first of all, they have no they don't take into consideration the realness of the materials, and also looking at, for example, a 3D model, or looking at architecture through a digital lens. You have no sense of space in the physical manner.
わかりやすく言うと、カーナビゲーションを私たちが使うと、空間認知能力とか地図が頭の中にイメージできなくなるのと一緒で、やっぱりそれは同じような影響が CG や模型にあると思います。
I believe you can compare it to the way you can drive a car using navigation, that when you are completely reliant on always using navigating tools, then the sense of space or the sense of space that you have within yourself,
マップ
and
地図がイメージでき
the
ない。
spiritual map inside you is ruined, is not there.
やはりそういう身体体で頭だけでイメージするので、体全体の感覚を使って建築を作るっていう作り方が決定的に今の建築の教育も含めて作り方に欠けていると思います。
I believe that today the way that we are taught doing architecture, the way that we do architecture, we are very much told that architecture is something you think about, or something that is only in the head, but I believe that it's also very it has to be a very perceptual experience, something that you sense with your body, your whole body.
その目だけから入る感覚で建築を作ろうとするのが今の現代の建築の作り方というか、特に教育ではそういうことをそういう教育の仕方しかしてないような僕は気がします。
This is just my opinion, or how I think that education is, but I believe that in architecture school you're very much taught just to design and do architecture through looking and just perceiving with the eye.
ヨーロッパだと古い石でできた教会の中に入ると、そこから感じる言葉では表現できない感覚は必ず誰しもが共通とは言わないまででも、もう何かを感じると僕は思います。
When you look at traditional stone buildings in Europe, for example, and you experience these beautiful spaces, it can sometimes be hard to express it with words, and even though it might be a very it might be an expressionless experience, I think that this feeling that you perceive is very important and is a very important tool to use as an architect.
それは建築の中だけではなくて、例えば森の中に入っても、おそらく何かを感じることはできると思います。
This is not just something that happens when you experience architecture, but it could also be when you enter a forest or enter different environments. You get a feeling that you maybe cannot express with words, but these experiences and this knowledge is very crucial to use as an architect.
そういう何かを感じる感覚こそが他者と共感できる感覚だと僕は思っています。他者と共感、共有できるっていうかな。そう何かを感じるアトモスフェアね。
This atmospheric feeling that you can experience in different environments, in different spaces. I think it's very, I think that is the main, that is what's very important to do as an architect, to share these experiences and feelings with other people, but also in your design.
建築家っていうのはそういうシェアできるアトモスファーを作ることが建築家の仕事です。
So yeah, my definition of an architect is to be able to share these emotions and maybe wordless atmospheric spaces, and through that make architecture.
コンセプトや、言葉で語る建築というのはシェアで共有しやすいものですが、それは建築家のする仕事では僕はないと思っています。
And it's very easy as an architect to use a lot of fancy words or have these hypotheses called concepts. But I believe that this is not the role of the architect.
そう言葉とか、映像は実は違ったものでも同じものだということを、まあ感覚的に実は違っているものでも同じものだということの決まりの中で言葉が成り立っているので、それは建築ではないと僕は思います。
Whenever you use words or concepts, you're kind of making an abstraction, and you're saying that one thing, or you're interpreting something to something else. And I believe that this strongly disturbs my understanding of architecture, because I believe that it's that you're reliant to this falseness when it comes to space.
例えば今僕の言った意味っていうのは、例えばリンゴが2つあったとすると、動物はこれは同じものだでは、同じリンゴでも同じものではないんです。
So, for example, if you take two apples and an animal perceives this, they would never believe that these two things are the same.
人間だけがリンゴという名前をつけて同じものにしてしまいます。
It's only humans that have created a definition that this or defined this as an apple, a fruit, and that they are the same things.
言葉というものはそういう機能がなければそういうものでなければ機能しないものです。
But of course, this is our way of understanding and perceiving the world, that we communicate with words, and this makes things, even though we know that it's false, it's a way of understanding the world better. And that's the ability of the human.
実は全く違うものなのに人間は同じだとしてしまうんですけども、建築を経験するということは、このリンゴをそれぞれ食べた時の感動を共有するっていうことなんです。建築を体験するっていうのは、リンゴを食べた時の感動、その美味しさを、の感動を共有するっていうことが建築を体験することだっていう。
And I believe that what the role of the architect is to share the experience of the taste of the apple. So not the apple itself, but the experience of tasting it, and sharing this experience with others.
そういう好き嫌いはあるんだけど、そういう経験とかなんていうのかな、感覚を共有するっていうことが建築をするっていうことだと僕は思っています。情報を共有することではない。
And of course, there can be different tastes and people that have different sense of taste. So it's not that you share the same exact taste with everyone. But in general, I believe that this is my understanding of architecture, that it's the role of the architect is to share the experience of the taste rather than defining something or sharing a lot of knowledge.
だから現代建築でよくあるのは、一回その訪問というか訪れてしまうと、そこの情報を理解してしまえば、もう二度とその建築に興味がなくなるという経験があると思います。言ってる意味わかる？
現代建築。
現代建築の多くは、いわゆる情報としての建築だから、一度経験してしまえば、その情報を理解してしまったら、もうその建築に対する興味はなくなる。
So I believe that in terms of contemporary architecture, what we are told, or the way that contemporary architecture is popular and it is perceived as through knowledge and through these hypotheses, concepts, and words. But actually, once you experience the spaces, they can be very different from the definition or what we are told the definition of by the architect or whoever presents it.
日本の古いお寺や、ヨーロッパなどの古い教会などは、 その行くたびにその違った感動とか何かを感じさせてくれるものが僕はあると思っています。
違った感動、
そ
の現代建築と。
現代建築違う、前言ったのとは違う感動がまたあったり、だから何回でも言っても何回言っても面白いっていうか。
So, in terms of the contemporary architecture, after experiencing it once, you either believe or you do not believe what you are told through these words, through the knowledge that is defined of the architecture. But when I look at old temples, old Japanese shrines, or look at old European churches, then I feel that every time I go back, I sense a new feeling and emotion, and I am continuously impressed by the spaces. And this is the difference between the two.
なぜ現代建築がそうなってしまったかっていうのを僕はよく考えます。
I often think about why contemporary architecture has developed to become like this.
多くのその大学の教育も含めて多くの建築家が求められていることは、イノベーティブなことと道徳的なことではないだろうかと思っています。道徳的モラル？
Yeah. I believe that how architecture is taught through education, and how the industry is today is that or architecture is defined as being something that has to be innovative, or something that is connected to our morals.
僕はその2つにとても疑い、イノベーティブなことと道徳的なことにとても疑いを持っています。
But I am very opposed to these two things, innovative architecture and moral of architecture.
おそらくそういう建築が求められるようになったのはここ数十年最近のことだと、100年ぐらいの間のことではないでしょうか。
And I think it's just recently, in the past, or in this way of thinking architecture, defining architecture, has maybe only existed for less than 100 years.
近代以前の建築家は、どちら、なんていうかな、近代以前の建築家は人に認められるとか人の評価を得るというが第一目的ではなかったような気がします。
What I believe is that people prior to the modern age, so I guess 100 years before, people that built architecture, they weren't interested in getting evaluation from others.
もちろんそのクライアントである、王様や貴族たちの評価はもちろん必要だったと思います。
Of course, there must have been some evaluation from a client or society. but I don't think it's in the same way as how contemporary architecture is today.
その頃の彼らの最もやっぱ大切にしていたことは、やっぱ神様に対して忠実だったということだと僕は思います。
But I believe that what was more valuable or the most important for the builders back then was getting evaluation from God or from whoever they believed created the world or the universe. So the spirituality to and connection to your surroundings.
それを一言で言うと、倫理的な建築、自分の中の倫理観に忠実だったっていうことだと思います。
So I think back then architecture was very much based on ethics and how the builder or how the builders their ethical views on what is beautiful and what is to be made in terms of architecture.
モラルは社会や自分の外からの影響で作られることが多いです。
I believe that morals are very much reliant on society and evaluation from people around you, and I think that's the that's how you can the big difference between ethics and moral.
倫理観というのは宗教や自分の中から生まれてくる価値観だと僕は思っています。
I believe that ethics is something an understanding or a valuable tool that is only within yourself and 自分の中と
価値観っていうか価値観っていうか大切にしていることっていうかな。
So ethics is very much based on what you believe is best and the valuability of things within yourself and therefore different to moral.
当然のことですが、建築家っていうのはいわゆる神が作ったと言われる地球の資源を使って建築を作るわけなので、僕は倫理観が中心にあるべきだと思っています。
I mean, I think it's obvious to state that as an architect, you build with things, with natural or things that are made in the earth and made by whoever you believe or your understanding of the world and understanding of the universe.
で最後は何でした？すみません。
倫理観が中心で建築を作るべきだっていう。
And that's why I think that approaching architecture with your ethos, with your ethics, is the most valuable tool to create good architecture.
今は教育も含めて道徳的なことの中でしか建築を 教えられていないので、もう一度建築を作る本質的な意味について考えてほしいなと思います。
But I believe that the way that architecture is taught today is very much based on morals and evaluation from society and from people around you. So I think it's important to be critical and also reconsider what architecture is and how we should perceive architecture.
っていうことかな。
Yeah.
は
I
い。
think that was my answer.
Thank you so much. It's wow. I don't know how to say that, but like, thank you. Just thank you. I think it was really interesting to know about how you perceive architecture, especially when, in my case, it's difficult to define architecture right now in my studies. So thank you very much for that. And I think
Blandine,
that's all.
Blandine and Corto, it's okay for you?
OK。
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all finished. I think.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time and for this so pedagogical conversation with you. You are like an architecture hero for us, I think, in Europe and especially in France. Your work is so unique and inspiring. And today we have a conversation like a lesson of wisdom and humility. So thank you so much. Arigatou gozaimashita.
ありがとうございます。これ4番いいのかな？
He's asking if he needs to, if it's okay that he hasn't answered the fourth question.
Oh, about the sketches.
Yes.
Yes, you can do if you want. That would be a pleasure.
大丈夫ですか？
大丈夫。
時間。We're fine with the time, if it's fine with you as well.
It is.
Okay.
最後に一言あれかな。一言言っていいかな、僕。
じゃあ
4番
もしよければ、答えてほしいんですけど。
でも、渡してるもんで、
あー
何か質問があればあれだけど、そんなに、
そうですね。
詳しくって言っても、途中、まあ、スケッチ、まあ、ディティールも渡しているので、もう、また何かあれば質問してもらえばいいんだけど、まあ、まあ、これだけで話しとくかな。まあ、別にどっちでもいいか。まあ、質問があればまた答えるっていうことにしとこうか。一応データ渡してるから。
So, in terms of the fourth question, we've sent you the drawings, and if you have any questions, further questions, now or even later, you're very welcome to send us an email or write to us. But if do you have any, like, have you had time to look at the drawings, and if there's any specific questions in terms of the drawings for the house, then we can do it now. But 宇野さんも今から何か話したいってことですか？
そうだね。最後に。
でもちょっと質問あるか聞いてみますね。
そうだね。
Are there any questions about the drawings?
Des questions à propos des dessins ou pas?
Là, dans les croquis.
Ouais. Dis-moi, I will translate what Blondie has to say.
Par exemple, dans le carnet de croquis, on voit qu'il a commencé les perspectives. Est-ce que c'était la perspective parce qu'elle est déjà le projet? Est-ce qu'il vient rajouter quelques détails après, ou c'est réfléchi avant?
Quel est l'ordre?
Ouais, des fois dans le carnet, en fait, il y a tellement d'infos. Quel est l'ordre des fois de la création de ces travaux?
Ok.
Est-ce que des fois il dit, bah, en voyant les swatchs, il va créer telle chose, ou est-ce que c'était pensé différemment?
Okay. In your sketchbooks, we've seen that there are a lot of details, a lot of sketches, and sometimes it's a bit confusing to know what was the first drawing in the page. Like for example, we've seen there are some perspectives. Were there before or after some detailed drawings? I don't know if that question is clear.
Like, are you thinking if the perspective drawings came before or after the 2D drawings, or like the or just the chronology of the sketches? Sorry, just to understand the question.
Yeah, dans la chronologie plutôt du dessin, ou est-ce que les perspectives sont venues après tout le dessin du 2D, etc.
C'est un peu en global en fait, j'arrive pas à définir. Je sais pas comment.
Mostly in the chronology of the drawings.
そのスキャンいただいたスケッチ、何枚もいただきましたけど、その野さんがデザインを考える順番、
そうでしょう。どっちがそういうことだよね。難しいよね。同時に考えてる時もあるし、突然ディティールが出てくることもあるので、順番っていうのはほとんどなくて、その時に自分が感じたことを、思っていたことを線にしているだけなので、順番ってあんまりないな。
I don't really have a chronological order in terms of how I start the design development. It's usually as things can pop into my head at random times. So whenever I get an idea for something, I always make lines out of it, or I sketch in my sketchbook. I wouldn't say that I have a chronological order in terms of my design development. It's different from each to each project.
だから同じ箇所を何回も書いてるっていうか、何回も書き直してるっていうことはあるよね。
But I draw the same plans and details for every drawing many times. There's a lot of iterations in terms of the things that I do. So the plan, the sections, the details. Yes. So I throughout a project, I redraw everything many times.
2、3回で済むことはないね。同じ箇所で、同じ場所でも、やっぱり10回ぐらい変わるかな。同じ場所でも大体。
Even in the same area, I would probably change the dimensions or do iterations at least 10 times. I never have few iterations. I change my mind very often.
その都度スタッフが書き直さないといけないから大変だっていう。
And the staff that then assist with doing the CAD drawings is very tough on them.
Thank you for your answer.
大丈夫かな？
Any more questions, or is it okay?
At the moment, no, but we might have some in the future. So thank you. You proposed we could ask you by mail, so we might want to do that. So thank you very much to pose it to us.
最後
Thank
に
you
一
so
言
much.
So he would like to say something in the end. Yeah.
今日は質問をくれてありがと
Thank you for the great answers that you prepared for me today.
う。あなたたちは知っているかわからないですけれども、良い質問は良い答えに勝るっていうのを知っていますか？
I don't know if you know this expression, but good questions lead to good answers.
私の答えは私が出した答えです。それはあなたの答えではない。
So often in terms of whenever you answer or you ask a question, it often determines the answer as well. So a question can say a lot about the person the person questioning.
大切にしてほしいことは、決してパソコンや本や先生からの教えられたことをそのまま信じることではなくて、自分の体験から答えを出してほしいと思っています。
If I could give any advice to you aspiring to be an architect in the future, it would be that always be critical of what you're told by teachers or people around you. Remember that that the answer is always within yourself, and believe that what you feel and your perception is the right answer.
必ずなんていうのかな、知識の中からではなく、体験の中から答えを出してほしいと思います。
And remember that answers not only lie within knowledge, but also but through experience. And it's mainly through the experience that you can find the true answers to things.
そうすることでクライアントからの信頼が得られます。
And by doing it this way, by focusing on experiences, you also gain trust to, for example, clients.
私が思う必要のない情報をクライアントとシェアする必要もなくなります。僕が思う必要のないと思う情報をクライアントとシェアする必要がなくなるっていうのかな。
He believes that the necessary additional information that is required from the clients, by gaining trust with your clients and having that relationship, you don't need further additional information.
だから強い言葉を持ってくださいっていうことかな。
So gain a strong gut and confidence in yourself.
Thank you so much for your time and for this discussion. Thank you also for the translation that would be far more difficult if you were not there. So thank you, and again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
あり
you.
がとうございました。
ありがとうござい
ありがとうご
ます。
ざいました。
これで切っていいのかな？
So, I guess this is it for now, or yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is it for now, and we will contact you by email because Blandine and Corto are cooking something for you about the project they analyze and about what they understand of the Tomoaki Uno film practice.
Okay.
So in some
We'll
weeks, there will be a
We'll hear from
surprise
you. Yes. Okay. Great. Thank you.
by
Thank you.
email. Thank you so much, and have a nice evening and weekend and off week, and see you soon.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
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 Bye.